What a year. 2025 wasn't just a good year for horror, it felt like a total shakeup of the genre. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm counting down my top 10 favourite horror movies of 2025. Now, just a heads up, this is purely just my personal opinion. This isn't like an official top 10 list. This is just based on how much these films stuck with me, scared me, some disturbed me, or some just flat out entertained me. Kicking off the list at number 10 is Companion. This one really surprised me. From the producers of Barbarian, it's a slower burn, more psychological than outright scary, but the tension is constant. This story follows a couple played by Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid on a weekend getaway that goes horribly wrong. There's this creepy sense of something being very wrong, and it never fully lets you relax. The marketing brilliantly hid the film's main twist, that Iris is an advanced AI companion. It's not the most terrifying film of the year, but it's definitely one that stayed in my head longer than I expected. There's also quite a few genuine funny moments thrown into this movie, which is why I ended up having a really good time with it. At number 9, we've got Together, starring real-life couple Alison Brie and Dave Franco. This film leans heavily into emotional body horror, and honestly, that's where it works best. It follows the pair as they move to the countryside where a mysterious force causes horrifying changes to their bodies and their relationship, and basically it happens after they drink some dodgy water in a cave. It's uncomfortable, intimate, and at times genuinely upsetting in a good horror way. A meta spin on the body horror genre, and not everyone is gonna vibe with this movie, but if you like horror that messes with relationships and human connection, this one hits very hard on that respect. There's quite a few gnarly moments in this one, and even though I wasn't a massive fan of the ending, I would still go back and rewatch this movie. Coming in at number 8 is The Long Walk. This is a bleak, relentless horror based on the classic Stephen King novel and directed by Francis Lawrence. There's a real sense of dread from start to finish, and the concept alone is enough to make your skin crawl. The film is set in a dystopian America where 50 teenage boys must walk without stopping. If they drop below speed for too long, they end up getting shot after a couple of warnings. It's not flashy, it's not jump scare heavy, it's just grim, and that's exactly why it works. Some people may argue that, is this even a horror film, when in my opinion, it is. Also, it's not often a horror movie can make me cry on numerous, occasions. In fact, it is super rare, so guys, definitely go and check this one out if you haven't already. At number 7, Heart Eyes. Now, this was one of the most fun horror movies of the year for me. Directed by Josh Rubin, it blends slasher elements with dark humor really well. This story follows two co-workers, played by Olivia Holt and Mason Gooden, who are mistaken for a couple by a serial killer who only hunts couples on Valentine's Day. The kills are creative without being too ridiculous. It knows exactly what kind of movie it is, a romantic comedy slasher horror, and it fully commits to it. Also, this movie had one of the best kills of the entire year for me, the wine crushing scene. If you know, you know. Number 6 goes to Final Destination Bloodlines, the 6th film in the franchise. Honestly, I didn't expect to enjoy this as much as I did. Released in May earlier this year after a 14-year absence from the big screen, this installment brings back that classic Final Destination feeling. The tension, the paranoia, the how is it going to happen moments, while still feeling fresh enough to justify its existence. The story in this film introduces a new twist on the formula, focusing on a young woman who discovers her grandmother cheated death back in the 1960s, and now death is coming for her entire bloodline. If you're a fan of the franchise, then please give this one a go. It really delivers. We are now halfway through the carnage and the top 5 are just ahead. These are the films that didn't just scare me, they really stuck with me. At number 5, The Conjuring: Last Rites. This felt like a proper return to form for the series. Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga return as Ed and Lorraine Warren for their final case, based on the real-life Smurl haunting in Pennsylvania. This film is atmospheric, creepy, and packed with genuinely unsettling moments rather than those cheap scares. It's respectful to the franchise but still dark enough to stand on its own as it follows the Warrens into retirement before one last job pulls them back in. This is a solid entry and a strong late chapter for the series. Also, it is actually my favourite Conjuring sequel out of all of the Conjuring movies, which is why it is here on today's list. At number 4, we've got The Home. This one really got under my skin. From The Purge creator James DeMonaco, the film stars Pete Davidson as a man who's doing community service at this retirement home, only to uncover a horrifying secret on the forbidden 4th floor. This film is quiet, eerie, and filled with that slow building dread that creeps onto you without warning. The setting plays a huge part here. It feels wrong from the moment you step inside. As main character Max digs deeper, he finds a cult harvesting fluids from the residents to achieve immorality. Definitely one of the more unsettling films of the year, and I really wish more people will go out and see this movie because I don't see many people talking about it. Also, this film had an absolute insane bloodbath final act. Taking the bronze medal at number 3, 28 years later. This film absolutely delivers on atmosphere and tension. The long-awaited sequel expands the world in a smart way while keeping that raw, terrifying energy the franchise is known for. Some moments are genuinely intense, and the horror feels grounded and brutal. Of course, this is just the start of a brand new trilogy, with the next movie being released very soon into the new year. Now, I know this movie did get a lot of mixed reactions when it was first released because it does feel very different from the first 2 movies, but that was always going to be expected. I think what we need to remember is it is 28 years later. It's going to feel different. Of course, it does have a very questionable ending that hasn't really been explained yet, but I'm pretty sure we're going to find out in the next entry. But this is definitely one of the better horror movie releases of 2025. At number 2, Weapons. This film is disturbing in all of the right ways. From Zach Krieger, the director of Barbarian, the movie revolves around the mysterious disappearance of an entire classroom of children in a small town. This film is layered, it's dark, and it doesn't spoon-feed you answers. With a cast including Josh Brolin and Julia Garner, there's a constant feeling of unease, and by the time it ends, you're left thinking about it long after the credits roll. It's a film that is totally unpredictable, it's not what you think it's going to be, and it's full of surprises. I really enjoyed this film, and it only just misses out at my number 1 spot because my number 1 favourite horror movie of 2025 has to be Bring Her Back. This film absolutely destroyed me, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. From A24 and the Philippa brothers who directed Talk to Me, the film stars Sally Hawkins as a grieving mother who becomes obsessed with 2 strange siblings that she ends up fostering. This film is emotional. Oh my god, what proper emotional. It's terrifying. It's deeply unsettling. The kind of horror that really does stick with you, and it does make you feel uncomfortable in your own skin. It balances grief, trauma, and outright horror perfectly. For me, this was the most powerful, memorable, and effective horror film of the year, hands down. I always knew when I saw this film earlier on in the year that this is the horror film that other horror films are going to have to try and beat, but unfortunately none of the others did, and Bring Her Back, in my opinion, deserves to be crowned the 2025 winner of Best Horror Movie. And that is my list, from the relentless dread of the long walk to the brutal tension of 28 years later, and of course the devastating horror of Bring Her Back. 2025 was a year that proved horror is one of the most vital and inventive genres in cinema, offering both, grand new myths and startlingly personal nightmares. But horror is personal. The things that scare us are unique, so now I'm turning it back to you guys. What was your number one spot? It might be completely different to mine, and that is okay. What film from 2025 will be haunting your dreams for years to come? Let me know in the comments, and if you made it this far, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the dark heart of cinema and around the world. Okay then guys, well, thank you all for watching today's video. Make sure you stay safe out there, and I'll catch you all in the next one.